Hi everyone, welcome to this series. Sorry for the hiatus. Today we're going to talk about Russian numbers. I don't really plan these videos, so I don't really have anything prepared, but let's first go through Russian numbers. So, of course we have 1 to 10. Один, два, три, четыре, пять, шесть, семь, восемь, девять, десять. That's 1 to 10. So languages aren't really logical. Some people say they are, but they're really not. They're not logical at all. One example of this is normally in Russian, the adjective has to be the same as the noun, like has to be the same gender and the same case and number of the noun it's describing. This only applies to one number in Russian, that's 1. So number 1 has all adjective forms. So you could say, for example, один, одна, одно, одни, and all the other forms. For all the other numbers, well, there is one exception to this. So you have all forms for 1. You have only a few of the forms for 2. For some reason, there's 2 forms for 2. The rest of them only have 1 form. Why? It's not logical. There's no consistency there. So number 1, you have to remember all these forms. Everything else you don't care. So when you say one thing, you have to think about the gender. If you say 2 things, you have to think about the gender. If you think about anything else, any numbers, you don't care. You don't care. It's the same. So it only changes for 1 and 2. So one very strange thing about number 1 is you can actually use it to say alone. So if you want to say I am alone, you say я один. If you want to say she is alone, you say она одна. So it's just like saying I won, like saying I'm alone. It's the same way of saying that. Alright, so then we have so 11 to 20. So for example, 11 we одиннадцать. So normally you just add нацать, which I believe refers to 10 in some way. I don't actually know what it means, I just know how to say it. Одиннадцать. I guess двенадцать. Тринадцать. Четырнадцать. You basically take the first number and then add нацать to the end, and you have the same. Пятьдесят. Шестьнадцать. Семьнадцать. Восемьнадцать. Девятнадцать. Then we change. 20 is двадцать. Which I actually don't know where this word comes from. But if you just think of like два, 2, цит, 10, I don't actually know where this word comes from, or if there's a way of. It's like in English, like 10, 20. Where does 20 come from? I don't know. Same thing with 30. So basically, after that, it's pretty logical. You say двадцать один, двадцать два, двадцать три. You just say 21, 22. It's the same as English. Then you get тридцать, 30. You do get a bit weird now. Doesn't really have many consistencies. You have сорок, which is 40. Where does сорок come from? It's not logical. I don't know. I have no idea where it comes from. It should, in theory, be четырнадцать. I don't know, but it's you say сорок. I don't know why. Then we have another change. You say пятьдесят. Why? I don't know. двадцать. Двадцать, тридцать, пятьдесят. Why not пятьдесят? There's no logic here. I don't know why. You just remember it most of the time. So same thing with шестьдесят. So that's 60. So then we continue this pattern and we say семьдесят for 70, восемьдесят for 80, and then we change again. Don't know why we change again. Whoever invented this, девяноста is 90. You don't say, I guess because девятьдесят, it sounds kind of weird. So девяноста, I don't know where nosta comes from. Not logical. And then 100 is сто. I won't go any higher than that. Well, of course we have like the thousands. The 1,000 is тысяч, and you normally just say, for example, тысяча, 1 is 1,000. Две тысячи. It's 2,000, so it's quite logical in that way. Let me give you some examples. So, у меня есть одна сестра и два брата. So first of all we have одна, because sister is feminine, so одна. And then we use две. So one thing that's really confusing for me, for some reason, so when it's feminine for one, you add an A to the end, одна сестра. But when it's feminine for two, you add an E or a ye. So if it's feminine, it's две, and if it's masculine, it's два. Why? Одна feminine, два masculine. Why? Don't know. Not logical. You just have to remember it. Anyway, so if any other number, you don't have to care about the gender, but here you do. And here comes the most annoying thing about numbers. The nouns will change depending on the numbers. So it's not just like in English where if it's one, singular. If it's more than one, plural. Pretty logical, right? In Russian, you have to kind of throw logic out the window. The logic is completely gone. So what you do is if it ends in 1, it doesn't matter what the number is, 101, 1,000,001, you use the singular form. So the singular form if it ends in 1. So you could say у меня есть миллион один стол. So it's like I have a 1,000,001 table. So I have a million table, singular. Somehow it's singular, even if there's a million. Like, and then in the next sentence, the sentence after that, you use plural. You can say у меня есть 101 стол. Они красивые. So the sentence afterwards, we're using the plural forms. And you have to break your brain to do this. So one, you say it's singular. Next sentence, you say it's plural, just because you use the word one. So adding the word one to any noun just destroys everything, just destroys any logic. You have to just use the singular form. That's not all, though. So if the number ends in 2 to 4, then you have to use the genitive singular. So it's singular still, but you're going to use the genitive singular. So if you look at the word brother, so we have the form. So the forms of brother are брать, братья, брата, братьев. So here I said у меня есть одна сестра и два брата, which is singular genitive. So I'm saying it's basically like saying of one brother. Why are we using genitive? I don't. Again, logic out the window, right? Get it. Just remember, if it ends in 2, use the singular genitive form. If it ends in 3 or 4, same thing. So it doesn't matter what you say. So if you say, for example, say the example with table, just because table is the easiest to remember. So table is stol, stoli, stola, stolov. The nominative singular, nominative plural, genitive singular, genitive plural. If you say, for example, у меня есть один стол, makes sense. У меня есть 21 стол. Still 21 table. У меня есть 22 стола. I have to say the genitive singular. Then if it ends in 5 to 10, or anything of the teen number, so 11 to 20, 5 to 10 or 11 to 20, so if the last number is 5 or 5 to 10, you have to use the genitive plural, which kind of breaks my brain entirely. But okay, so if you say, for example, у меня 25 столов. So, у меня есть 21 стол, у меня есть 22 стола, у меня есть 25 столов. Again, you're saying singular and then plural, and it's just like kind of annoying. The most common situation you use this is with age. I've gone through age before in making a description about yourself, but if you want to say your age, you say мне, to me, and then you say age, so you can say мне 23 года. So you got to say года, it's genitive plural, because you said 22. You get used to it eventually, but so the thing you definitely do not want to do is use an adjective, because using an adjective breaks the language even more if you use an adjective. So if you say, for example, so you want to say, I have 21 big tables, right? You got to say, у меня есть 21 один большой stol, which again, single table somehow. I have, anyway, 21 big table, singular. If you want to say with a 2 at the end, logic out the window again, what you do is you make the adjective ending genitive plural, and you make the noun genitive singular. So the adjective is plural, but the noun is singular. So what you do is you say у меня есть 22 больших стола, which in every other instance of the language would be an error, because you're supposed to say большого стола, because the adjective is supposed to correspond to the noun, but numbers break the language, so you've got to use genitive plural for the adjective if you put 2 or 3 or 4 at the end of the number. So to save your sanity, do not use an adjective with a number. Just don't do it. Don't do it. Or just separate. You could say, for example, у меня есть 22 стола. Они большие. Done. Separate the sentences. Then you can save your sanity and not have to think that something is plural while saying it's singular, why it's not actually singular, because it's 22, and how the hell can 22 be singular? Throw it out the window. Just separate the sentence. I might be ranting a bit here, but this doesn't make sense. I don't know why people do this. Like, it doesn't make sense at all to say, but numbers kind of break the language. I don't really like this rule. I prefer if it's singular, use the singular word. If it's plural, use the plural word. So one thing that's kind of weird about numbers is if you use some other, say if you use a preposition, then you don't use these rules. So if you say, for example, there's this preposition около, which means around, like something around, like say for example, I will be there at around 5. So you can say я буду там около 5. You got to use the genitive here. That's the great thing about numbers. They do actually change the case, which is always fun. So you got to use the genitive of 5. 5 is piti. Anyway, so if you say, for example, on 2 tables, then you don't use the genitive plural. You use the prepositional, because na, on, you got to use the prepositional. So you don't care about this anymore. So you only use the genitive plural or genitive singular with 2 if there's no other preposition that would change the case anyway. But numbers aren't really for beginners, honestly. I would probably just, if you're a beginner, don't say a number. Just don't do it unless it's like I have 1 sister. Then you still kind of have to think about, genitive singular, genitive plural. Yeah, I guess that's all for this video. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you guys next time.